Hey, all you cool cats and kittens. Hey, we just want to be real clear and upfront here. This is a Spoilercast. Kevin and myself are about to talk all about The Last of Us Part 2. We're talking about all the story beats, we're talking about all the plots, our feelings, and all that good stuff. It is meant for those of you that have already completed the game, or for those of you that aren't planning on playing the game, you just want to hear our thoughts. It is not meant for our regular PSXP listeners just downloading and listening to the next show that's in your queue. So, again, final warning. This is a spoiler cast. If you do not want to hear any juicy details about The Last of Us Part 2 right now, please turn this off. We do not want to spoil the game for you. Final warning. About to kick over to the show. But again, please turn it off. Spoilers ahead. It's your last chance. You can't say we didn't warn you. All right. Let's get on with the show. Boom, there we are, kicking off what I believe to be one of many, The Last of Us Part 2, spoiler cast, reactions, review cast, whatever you want to call it, videos, podcasts coming from PSVG in the next coming weeks. We're kicking it off with myself, Donnie Reese, here you go, Mr. Play Nintendo, greetings, Gooblings, and Kevin, my co-host over at the Xbox Empire and PSVG Prime, and reviewer of the gaming press of The Last of Us Part 2.
This is true. I got to play it first.
You did. Yeah, you were there.
Literally the first person on Earth to play Last of Us. That's not true. But I got to play it very early, so it was cool to be able to beat it before I had to review it, which was nice for once, because typically you don't get that much leeway time before embargoes come up. But yes.
Sure. And I think we found a loophole. I got to play it too, but for those that know that Kevin and I do game share, that's not necessarily why. Kevin broke no NDAs whatsoever. It just so happened that because Kevin's console was my home console, it actually unlocked my pre-order. I don't know if it's physical, if it's digital, but my actual local copy of the game just unlocked because Kevin had access. I never even logged into your account, which was crazy. Yep. I went to preload it the day that Haley did, and I was like, I called you on the phone. I was like, Kevin,
I didn't do anything.
I want to make sure you know I didn't touch a damn thing, but installed. And the real only reason I noticed was because, I ordered the digital deluxe order, right? Mm-hmm. And it comes with the theme and it comes with the soundtrack and all of those things had timers on it. Yeah, the game didn't, and I was like, that's weird. I clicked it, and I was like, oh.
Yeah, that's a major oversight by Sony. Like, because I mean, really, that's. I
don't think there's anything they could do about that, right?
No, but I mean, like, you even went and you unplugged your Ethernet. You weren't playing anything online. Like, you were just trying to do everything to stay. I
100% did not want to get you in trouble. I would have uninstalled it if it was even like if it came to that. But yes, I immediately uninstalled it and then checked in with my PlayStation sources, and they were like, "Dude, you're good." So I played it as well. So we're just early. The PSXP crew is going to be doing some discussions. I know Justin is going to be head up some review cast discussions. And considering that you and I have both beaten this game already, I'm going to go out here and tell you that I think we're going to be hearing about this game on PSVG for the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think it's pretty safe.
Yeah, so I don't think this is the only. I think this is the first of many conversations coming about this game. So,
and most likely the best, let's be honest.
So I want to talk to you about reviewing the game, and then I've already had several folks reach out to me about my impressions of the game. I think my experience in getting my book signed and all the collecting and things that I've done has a lot of people interested in knowing my thoughts. So I thought this would be really, really good for us to just record our thoughts. We could be out a little early, which is nice. When I say early, we're not going to post this day it goes out. We'd give it about a week or so after the game comes out. Maybe I was thinking Wednesday, Thursday, something like that. Yeah. So for those folks that play it super fast, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, have something ready for you Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, something that you can get into if you want to, and hear our thoughts. I tried, Kevin, to do a tweet. I was like, I'm going to give a general impression of my thoughts in this game, and I couldn't fit it. I tried 280 characters. I couldn't make it work. And I was like, I don't want to say this without saying that. I'll just record a podcast.
Yeah, I'm with you. This review experience was definitely the most different and the hardest one I've had to do. And not because of the scope and the scale of this game, but it's, there's been a lot, and there's been articles about the embargo that Sony had on it and saying like, hey, you can't release anything other than some pre-generated screenshots, pre-generated GIFs, no video coverage, no nothing. Then the review comes up on the 12th, which I published on the 12th, like right.
Can't talk about basically the entire second half of the game, right?
Yep. Which for me actually was okay, because I deliberately, and I talked to the staff at gamesreviews.com and said, I want to do a review where I'm not going to cover that. Because if I were playing the game, and I know everyone's different, this type of game, I wouldn't want to know any of the story beats. You know, I avoided all the spoilers that came out ahead of time. So I went in, I actually was able to go in blind. Other than the last trailer they released was all I had to go by. So I don't want that same experience for anybody else, which, you know, once again, if you're listening to this now and you want to play through and you haven't, turn it off.
Yeah, stop.
Come back, check with us later, because we are going to spoil the crap out of this. But yeah, it was just a unique experience where they didn't want me talking about things and I couldn't do things. So I was able to review it just fine because I said, hey, the story was great, or whatever the case is, you know, and that was the experience. But this was definitely like very shadow, very early that I got to play this. Like, it almost felt dirty, to be honest. And knowing that I couldn't talk to anybody, and I didn't, but I also didn't want to. I didn't want to spoil with anybody, but it's been driving me nuts for weeks that I haven't been able to talk any story beats with anybody, because I don't want to. And technically, while we're recording this, I'm still not supposed to. Right. I'm not supposed to talk anything story until the 19th. So, and even then, only up to a certain point. So, you know, yeah, it was a great experience. But we'll talk more, I'm sure. But yeah, it was definitely a unique experience.
So my first two bullet points, let's just get into it. My first bullet point are leaks. This game had some unfortunate big portions of it leaked early, almost 2 months out. Right? That's about right?
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, it was around the original date it was supposed to come out is when they started with the leak. So yeah, I
presume you didn't see any of those.
Nope, and I actually didn't go back to find out what they were. So this will be all news to me as to what was leaked.
I was lucky. I saw leaks that made me angry, and they just talked about. Yeah, and I'll go and say it now. I have not been saying it because I didn't want people to think it, but the leaks that I saw was that Dina died like super early on, and it was basically what a lot of people were speculating the game was supposed to be.
Yes.
Yep. But it was paired with like videos of clips that kind of like supported it. I did not watch the videos. I told Delvin in our chat, like I was like, I saw the leaks, so I feel like I know the beats, but I'm not going to watch the videos because I didn't want the context. Mm-hmm. Only to then find out from him and my friend that follows the game, who I work with, that the leaks were wrong.
Yeah.
And that the points that I thought were right were wrong. The only spoiler that I knew going in when I booted up the game was that Joel died, which
I think everyone figured that.
Yeah. That was one of the ones that everybody was upset about. And I was like, I think if you've ever played this game, like everybody can see that coming a mile away.
You know it's coming.
That's not really a spoiler.
No, and you're right. And the Dina thing, you're right, because even me not following the spoilers, like all trailers and everything we saw going into it seemed to allude that you know, was why Ellie was out. And it wasn't. Which was good, but you're right, the Joel thing, and I was very vocal at the start that I was like, oh, I hope I get to play as Joel a lot in this game, or at least a good portion of it. Yeah, that didn't happen.
No.
But I always knew he was going to die. I just wasn't sure when or how or the reasoning behind it.
Sure.
You know, to be honest. And it wasn't what I thought it was.
So my next thing is, considering that this is probably PSVG's highest profile assignment in terms of like early access. So what was it like, man? How do you feel? Like, what were the challenges, the struggles with having to review a game that, it's one thing to review a game that has like a niche. It's another thing to review a game that, you know, like a site's going to have all eyes on, like this is the one. People are waiting this game, myself included, for many, many years. So did you feel the pressure?
Definitely. So knowing when the review embargo was up and knowing that because of this caliber game, I absolutely wanted it to drop the second it could. It wasn't like, oh, this can come out 2 or 3 days later. Like, no. This dropped 3 a.m. Eastern time on the date it could. Like, that was the earliest we could drop it. It was done. The pressure was there because a game like this, you know, some games I'll review and I haven't beaten the game. I would have played a substantial amount of time and invested into it, but didn't see it all the way through because sometimes you don't need to. But a story-driven game experience like this, I had to complete it. And there was an issue where, like, that weekend in between when I got it and when the embargo was up, I couldn't play at all. Just due to life. So there was a lot of times I stayed up a lot later crunching to get through the game, so I was able to beat it. Now, I didn't rush through the game, so I don't want to put that impression on anybody that I had to, like, sprint through the game. I still explored everything. I played the way I wanted to play, but in the back of my head, I always knew, like, well, I have all this going on. So I actually was writing my review as I was playing. and bringing up points and story beats. And then I would edit if I needed to based on the end game experience. But I didn't wait till the very end and reflect and write it all then. I actually was doing it throughout the journey. But yeah, I mean, the pressure was there because I really wanted to beat it to say, here is a definitive, I've seen everything review, and not get, fooled by something or miss out on the ending if that would change my opinion for better or worse.
I'm actually really glad that you did that then, because I didn't catalog my thoughts as I played. And I beat this game in about 3 days, about 2.5 days.
Yep.
So I really went just full bore on it.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a part of me that's a little concerned right now because I have 6 bullet points that I wrote down.
Okay.
That's all I got. That's all I brought to steer this conversation. So I'm scared that I won't fully articulate the things that I feel, like my feelings, into words, because I haven't really prepared them yet. But even since the review embargo is still up yet, like, it's hard to even go back and catch up on the things that happened in the game. So you cataloging your thoughts as you were playing, I think, is a good thing, because if I had to write a review based on the way I played, now if I was reviewing it, I probably would have done what you did, but if I was writing a review now, I'd feel a little fuzzy, because there's like there's a lot of game here.
There's a lot that happens.
There's a lot that happens, it's like, okay.
What was your playtime before we get too far into it? How long, how many hours did the game take you?
28.
Okay, so right around what I told you, it would most likely be. Okay.
Yours?
I think it was 26.5. I think
oh, wow.
What I told you. So
we're real close.
It was around the same thing. Like I said, I explored a lot. I don't feel like I missed anything, and I cracked all the safes and everything like that. So, yeah,
one of the issues,
but I told you between 25 and 30 hours, I think, for most people.
One of the issues of playing my way that we discovered was I didn't have access to the patch. The patch isn't out for non-consoles like yours. So I encountered 4 safes that didn't crack. That I'm pretty sure, I have photo evidence that I have the code.
Yeah. You reached out to me on a couple of them, and I'm like, nope, this is where it is, and you're like, that's not even there. And the other one, I'm like, nope, that's definitely the code. And you're like, it's not working.
So and I would never ever dare say bad things about the game for that reason. I don't care.
And it didn't affect your enjoyment of the game. You're just like, okay, I can't open this. And I told you there wasn't anything that would have.
If anything, my issue was that I spent 30 minutes trying to figure it out.
Yes, and that's where that extra time, that's where that extra gameplay time went into, is trying to get those saves.
Okay, so let's get into it. I want your general thoughts on the game first. So tell me what you thought. What was your review? What was your score? Your final ultimate thoughts?
So I gave it the dreaded 10 out of 10.
Ooh.
Which for me, it depends on the game, and I think for this experience overall, and I don't want to get into your bullet points.
Dude, well, my bullet points are just here to simply remind me of things that I want to work in. So you go wherever your heart leads you to go.
So for me, and like I said, you can read the full review over on gamesreviews.com. But I basically broke it down with all the major categories. You had like the graphics and gameplay. The game was stunning. I mean, it's. And this is the point I made before. I was trying to make before about what looks next gen. And sometimes the gen jump is too early because we don't get a lot of games that look, max out the capacity. So I have a launch PS4. I had 0 issues with this game. There was no stuttering. There was no lag. And it was the best looking game I've seen on PlayStation, period. Much like the first Last of Us was on PS3. Right at the end of the era, it was the best looking thing to come out there. Other than the whirring of the fans, because that's PlayStation, I didn't have any issues, and that was a fantastic experience to play a game that had 0 jank. Like almost every game has that. Didn't get it here at all. Sound engineering I thought was flawless. You heard every footstep, every raindrop, every mud puddle. These are the little things I think some people may miss out on. I played the whole game on headphones, by the way, so to clarify that, if you're playing on a TV speaker, you may not get the full sound experience, but every clicker noise, every puddle, every raindrop, every reloading the clip on your gun, you heard, and it sounded fantastic. So that was a great thing. The story, which I think this may be where we part a little bit, and maybe some gamers do.
Well, hang on to the story. Hang on.
Okay. So I'll skip that.
So I did write.
Yeah, everything I thought about the game functionality-wise was the best looking, the best running, tons of fun, kept me engaged. Didn't run into any issues per se.
I wrote down objectively, like this, not subjectively. Objectively, this is the visual experience is incredible.
Yes,
and it just goes so far to prove that there's so much more to game visuals than resolution and frames.
Oh,
a lot
100%.
of times we try to reduce something into that, and I was even making the case, not just Devin, I was even making the case with on Xenoblade Chronicles. Like, the game is not great resolution and frames wise, but it's so much better than the original because of all the texture work and details that they've added to it, even then still in a subpar resolution. Thankfully that's not the case here. The visual experience is incredible. On Pro, I think I'm 1440p 30 frames per second. I did turn off the motion blur because I've brought that up over the years. Everybody knows, like, it bothers me. I don't
like motion blur either.
It kind of makes me, it's like a bad VR experience. It's the only way I can explain it. Like, it kind of gives me a headache. And you only see it, it's very small, but you only see it like when panning. So anytime you move the camera, the entire picture blurs.
Yes, and I don't see how that benefits or enhances a game.
Well, it's like a realistic experience. I get it from a filmic sense. Like, if you move your gaze quickly.
If you're playing first person, yeah.
No, I'm just talking in real life. In real life, if you turn fast, your picture snaps into place.
Right. But motion blur in first person makes sense to me. But in third person, like this game,
I turned it down, all the way down, but that doesn't turn it off. That's one thing I wanted to say, and that seems to be like my axe to grind with Naughty Dog of late. I felt the same way with Lost Legacy and Uncharted 4. It's like it's been a thing that I've been doing for a while. So I definitely enjoyed that. From the gameplay side of it, the AI is definitely improved upon.
Oh, yeah.
It is not the smart AI that I think so many people may have been expecting. Yes. I still felt the patrols were on predestined paths. I think they're a bit more varied now. Like, a patrol may have one or two predestined paths, but if you sit there and wait long enough, you basically pick up on the pattern. Which brings me back to the other part, was the space. There's a lot more space in this game, which we've known about. And that's not like a shocker, but even in the linear parts of the game, there's a lot more space to move left and right and wide as you're going towards your goal. That changes the way the game can be played if you choose to do it.
Yes.
You're open up to all new mechanics, and you can use your mechanics in a bunch of different ways, which is where the AI part plays a part. You can go guns blazing and run around. You've got all kinds of windows and gaps and things to hide behind. It's not just like an alley of boxes. Like, why are all these boxes right here in the alley, for you to hide behind? It's actually like traversal. It feels real. Yeah. There's some cars, there's some stores, you can bust out windows. All of that stuff is immersive in a way that, from a production value, games don't. Like, just they don't do. Like, this is a first game, I think, in that level of detail that kind of matched that. And then, when I was talking to Kyle with our first Last of Us discussion, when we launched the PSXP solo feed, I've said this for a while, like the first Last of Us, I think they leaned a bit too heavy on those ladder puzzles and those cart puzzles. That's like an Uncharted, that's a Naughty Dog thing, right?
Yeah. Yep.
This time they're not there, and when they are there, I actually give them a lot of credit that they mix it up a bit and they make you think a little bit about it. They're still simple. Yep. I don't think they're hard to do, but you may have to set up a trash can on a slope and go run and open the door so it can get through the door before you can do something. So they mix it up, and then they added in a bunch of new puzzles, which gameplay wise, I think it might be my favorite addition that this game has. The safe cracks, as you were saying, all of the answers to those safes are environmental. If you're paying attention and you're reading the notes and you're finding the notes and you're looking at things on the wall and you're checking the calendars, you're checking the offices, all of that stuff helps you crack the safes, which helps you find hidden rooms. And they have all kinds of traversal puzzles in there with, like, a lot of times with ropes, or like there may be a lot of times there's a door in an apartment, in a building, in a store that's boarded up. Yep. But if you walk around back, or if you go through the window, or if you go through the top, there's a hole in the floor. There's a lot of environmental puzzling here for the explorer at heart.
Yep.
Which is how I play these games. I canvas these games. I am all over every obstacle, every platform, everything I can climb, walk on, jump off of. I typically do. So if you're more of a linear person, you're just kind of, rushing, or not rushing, I don't want to say that, but if you're just kind of playing straightforward, I think your playtime might be a lot less.
Yeah, I think you could probably shave off a good 3 to 5 hours almost if you didn't care about any of that stuff or really exploring. It's very much an urban exploration game, really. Like, and like you said, there's not other game designers that really go out and do that kind of level of detail like that, saying, okay, well, here's the path you need to get from A to B, but how you get from A to B. There's 20 different ways depending on how you want to do it. And one point, just kind of go back a little bit about the enemy AI. So you're right about the predetermined paths. There's definitely some variation there, but not a whole lot. But I will say how they react once alerted.
That's a whole separate story.
Seems to have been stepped up a whole lot more than it was in the first game. There is a lot of variation of what they can do then that makes things kind of scramble for you. If you go in guns blazing, once again, you can do, but the way they react is a lot more aggressive and smarter than I've seen in other iterations in other games.
No, definitely, I agree with you there. And they'll gang up on you, they'll flank you, they're in constant movement. Once they're alerted to you, especially with the factor of the dogs and the sense of smell and stuff like that, that's where those open areas really play a part, because you can either use them to your advantage or, there's a lot of different ways. This is the part where I feel like there's a lot of things I want to say, and I'm trying to line them up to say them appropriately. This feels like The Last of Us Part 2 feels like the best Resident Evil game ever made. Because a lot of it is the same thing, right? You loot, you kill, and you explore, and you keep doing it, and that's kind of the gameplay loop. Yeah. But the level of detail that they put into the world when you're looting makes it so much more fun if you're into that. But it doesn't have to be that. It can be a linear story, like single player adventure game.
Yep.
If you're more into Uncharted, it can be that. But if you love like a Resident Evil or something like that, it can be that too a lot. Or it could be the best stealth game. If you bump up if you bump up the difficulty, this could be an incredible stealth game, because I cleared entire sections without killing anybody.
Yeah.
And you guys know me, I'm not into stealth, but there were some times where I didn't have the guns to fight, and I was significantly outnumbered. And there was a one time in the tunnels when everything goes all red and everything, and you got to get out, and there's that last section where you're like in the water, and there's like pass and fences, and there's like 2 bloaters and like 4 clickers and everything. I did that entire room without touching anybody. It took me like 17 minutes. I just sat there and waited and went and waited and went and waited and went, because I had like 4 bullets at that point.
For me, that section was a lot of waiting, running away, trying to set some traps or use some of my crafting stuff, because it's the same thing, like weapons at that point wasn't as plentiful as it was in other.
You're fighting
areas.
all the way until you get there.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And then you got to fight when you get there, and you're like, this is not fair at all. Yeah.
So I mean, but that stealth mechanic is incredible, and I imagine if you bump up the difficulty, you have a really great stealth experience here with this game, because of how the AI reacts to you, and again, the limitless amount of options you have to go forward. And
sorry, Kyle, about the dogs.
And I was gonna say they even make it a little bit more difficult, because in a lot of sections, at the end of the section, you've got to get to a door to get to the next safe zone. But those doors take time to open, and they make a ton of noise. So if you're playing like full passive stealth, it's going to be a challenge, man. You're going to have to like lure them a far way away and then get to it and open it before they get to you. There's going to be quite a bit of that there. So there was a lot of things objectively, and I guess this is where we'll turn it. We'll kind of catch up. But objectively, I'm going to go ahead and say it. This is my hot take kind of experience. Objectively, this is one of the best games I think I've ever seen. On a production level, it's unparalleled. Naughty Dog has truly pushed forward how games can be thought of, I think, by anybody that's looking at the medium. This isn't a regular video game.
No.
There's a part of me that wants to even say, and people may not like hearing this might have been a better movie than a game. I think there's an argument to be made for that, because I think in some regards, the fact that it's a video game, I don't want to say holds it back. I don't think that'd be the appropriate description, but maybe even lessens the story. The fact that you have to play as much as you do to get to where you're going, to some might be a deterrent. So I ultimately want to start this off with our final thoughts or reviews, and we'll just break it down from there. I think this game is incredible. I think it's comparable to, it's like a double album. It's like 2 or 3 games wrapped up in one. It's dense as all get out. I mean, it's pretty amazing. And I think when you think of epic movies and epic novels and things like that, I think The Last of Us Part 2 should be considered as like a great piece of art, and I 100% expect it to clean up at every game of the year consideration. But
yeah,
I actually would be more excited to see what it does outside of the video game ecosystem and how much people acknowledge it from theater and cinema and novels and things like that, because I think this work is on that level. It's like they've exceeded the glass ceiling. They've transcended just the video game medium, and this game is... There are parts where this game isn't even a game. There are parts where this game feels movie-like because of production, because of the shots, the way they're presented, and the story that it's telling. It transcends what we think of collectively as video game. This is a redefining video game. More so
I agree with you.
Than Breath of the Wild was for open world design, for example. That was limited to like a genre of game, whereas this is the medium of video gaming. So 100%, I make no conflict with your 10 out of 10. I think it's a masterpiece. I think it's incredible. I also hate it. And I think that's the point.
Okay.
Kind of. And that's the hard part with why I really wanted to talk to somebody about this. And I think that's going to be the hard part in me trying to explain why.
Okay, hold on one sec before you go down that path, because I do want to talk about that, because we haven't talked about that at all. I just know you've said that phrase to me, and that's it, so I know. About I agree with you 100% how this is redefining what games can be, and I think I actually even said that in my review, that this redefines the entire medium. But the whole thing, like, you're like, there's so much in here. This is like, a double album. Spoilers, everybody. This game could have ended and been at the ending. I think I counted 3 or 4 times.
I counted 3.
And I'm like, oh my God,
3
this
times
is still
this
going.
Ended.
And not in a bad way, but I'm like, oh my God, there's more. I can't believe there is more.
I thought it was a bad way on the second one.
That's fair.
Last act,
that was my
I
least
was
favorite
like,
part.
why is this here?
All right, we'll get to that, but I'll let you... So continue on where you were going, and I'm sure we'll get that.
Yeah, and I definitely don't want this to come off as just my experience. I definitely want your experience here, too, so don't let me hog the mic.
No.
Boy, there's a lot of feelings, and it's going to be hard to explain them right. All right, so let me say this. I 100% acknowledge that the story sets up the things that I'm about to say. I'm just saying that I didn't like them.
Okay. Yeah.
There's a part
you already said you agree 10 out of 10, so and you agree with its importance. So these are nitpicky things that just deterred.
Oh, I don't think they're nitpicky. This is part of me wants to say, like, if Neil Druckmann was on this call with us right now and we could talk to him, part of me wants to say that I feel like he was, that the plot direction, the main narrative of this game was set out to be like the smartest person in the room. Like, it's almost like he maybe have outthought himself. Like, he worked himself into a shoe. Okay. This isn't the game that I wanted. Ultimately, I think most of my issues come down to just that fact. Mm-hmm. And I don't think people are going to like hearing that. And I think some people may try to, explain to me why that shouldn't be the case or anything like that. And it's just not going to change the fact that I've waited for this game for 7 years. And I consume and purchase all of its fandom and everything, and I love it. And it's something that I've replayed this game 5 or 6 times since PSVG has been around.
Right.
And that was only started in 2015. There's another 2 or 3 in there. So I love the first game. I often tell everybody it's my favorite game.
Yep.
This isn't the sequel that I was hoping to that. That doesn't mean to say it's bad. It's just it's not what I had in mind. It's not what I wanted. And when I was playing it, it's definitely not what I wanted. As I was playing, and I was like, I don't like this. And I feel like that's the point. I feel like I want to say that that's the point Neil's trying to make. I feel like he's trying to make, like, it was almost like, I'm going to be like, watch this thing that I'm going to do. I'm going to take this character that everybody loves and I'm going to turn her on you. And I didn't mention this. I played it on moderate difficulty. There's a part of me going into this game in all the preview coverage that I kept telling everybody I was scared it was going to be hard to play because it looked hard. It looked like there was a lot of mechanics, a lot of AI. I was like, this is going to be tough. I actually didn't think the game was tough to play at all. No. I breezed through it on moderate. That I should have bumped up even. I think all of my playthrough on Last of Us 1 had me almost like overly prepared for this.
Ready for it. Yeah.
It was hard to play because there were times I didn't want to play it anymore for a lot of different reasons. I don't like the Ellie that's in this game. It doesn't remind me of the Ellie that I originally became infatuated with, or fell in love with. Like, I love this character in the story, Ellie and Joel. This Ellie isn't that Ellie. And I understand that this is like, you feel like I've almost tried to talk myself out of these feelings. Because I feel like the contrast that people are going to say is like, well, this is a different world, it's a different time, people mature, people change. I get it. But like the root of her is different. It doesn't feel the same. It's like I had like a sentimental connection with the original Ellie. And this, she was this smart ass, tough as nail, brave, courageous character in this world of darkness. And now she's just a dark character in the world of darkness.
Okay, I was about to say, I'm like, everything but the beginning of your statement I feel stands the same. And I get your sentiment about the story, the sequel not being the sequel you wanted. I totally felt the same way playing it, but then I realized that yes, it's not what I thought I was going to get or what I wanted. I still enjoyed and I understand.
I wouldn't say I enjoyed, but I would say I appreciate.
Right.
I appreciate what it is.
Right. I agree Ellie changes a lot, but I feel that the story explains why.
I do too. I just don't like it.
Right. But so you think, I mean, we're talking spoilers here anyway, so it's not a big deal. It's like,
sure.
Ellie's major turning point is the fact she find out what Joel did.
Yeah.
To an extent. You know, he didn't say flat out that, you know, what you would have done is would have killed you, so I murdered everybody. But, you know,
she finds that out. That's there. Yeah. She finds a recording and everything. Like, she knows.
So she's judging her life saying, well, I could have potentially saved the human race.
Yeah, mankind.
If he didn't do this. And that's a lot for a person aging into what she is to take on. So I get it. I agree. Like, she couldn't have gone on naive of that fact in a sequel. I don't think there's any way to not address that.
My statement has...
Or for her to be the same person after finding that out.
My statements have zero to do with that. My statements are more in line with the Ellie that I know wouldn't risk her entire community, friends, and everybody she loves to go on a warpath in states far away just because. Even with Joel dying the way that she did. I just don't think so. I get that, like, in the whole point, we should mention, Neil's been on saying this on record for months now. The whole point of this game, really, the theme is a cycle of violence. It's a rage, violence begets vengeance and revenge, and it just kind of repeats itself. So I get the point. I just don't know. I just don't agree that the character would do that. And furthering that, not just that, I don't think she would put other people in harm's way or at risk to do it, which she blatantly does with Jesse. There's a moment where Jesse's like, we need to go find, Joel's brother. And she's like, we can't. We've got to do this. And she doesn't know, like, at that moment, she doesn't know that Abby's there. She doesn't know anything. She just wants to do it. She's just consumed by vengeance.
So I understand that point, but at no point does Ellie say, all right, people, come with me on this journey. She was ready to go by herself.
She was, sure.
So that was other people willing to stand up for what, whether it was for Ellie or whether it was for Joel.
Yep.
That was their decisions. She didn't drag them into that.
The moment that...
So yes, that scenario you mentioned, absolutely, like, yeah, she didn't know what was going to happen, but she never asked for Jesse to be there in the first place.
She lied to Jesse.
Yes, that part she did.
The moment that Dina reveals that she's pregnant, and Ellie's obviously in love with her, I feel like the Ellie that I would script, that I would know, that I would want to know, that I think I know. I don't know the best way to put this. My feeling is that she would have turned back. But she doesn't. Like, she's blindly consumed by rage. And it just doesn't seem to make sense to me. Like, and I get that Joel died, and I get why he died, but, like, at some point, I don't know, like, it doesn't seem simpatico. It feels like it doesn't fit. Like, there's a whole part of me that's just like, why the extra fervor? Where is this extra motivation coming from? And that goes a step further when she leaves her peaceful home with Dina and their son to go back. That didn't make any fucking sense to me at all. I hated that moment.
See, I think that worked out well because she was traumatized by what she went through. The whole.
But to give up everything to do it. See, it's interesting because I feel like the point of it was to parallel the hope and love that we found in the first game, but I understand giving up everything for that.
Yeah.
I don't understand giving up everything for this.
I didn't have a problem with it because I feel like
I'm not trying to sway you.
No, I know. I'm just saying my point. I'm not trying to sway you either.
Okay.
For me, what I took out of it was that she understood what Joel went through, and the fact that on multiple times he risked everything he had, which, albeit wasn't as much as what Ellie was facing, for her. And I think this was her way of, she knows doing what she was trying to do wouldn't bring Joel back. It's not a case of that, but it would have brought her closure, at least to know that, Joel would have done the same for me, and
but isn't it weird
for me
that the whole first act of the game is set up on how much she's angry at him because of this huge gigantic lie that she's done, and then she just drops all of that to go off and avenge him?
I think she realizes that in a weird way it's her fault. Now, whether that's right or wrong,
I don't see how it could be her fault. I mean, that was Joel's selfish action did that. She didn't kill those doctors and everything.
Right, but deep down,
I think she feels it was a mistake.
Right.
But I get it.
But I think she realizes that Joel didn't do it as I'm going to murder all these people because I'm a bad person. I'm going to do it because I love you so much and I care about you so much that I needed to save you. And once again, all these people are broken in this game, by the way. Every single person.
Oh, this is a dark fucking game. This is the darkest game that's ever been made. All right, I'm going to just go ahead and say it. Spoilers. This is the big one. The game makes you fight Ellie.
Yes.
Which I absolutely did not want to do.
That was actually, I feel like that was the hardest part of this game.
Everything that I said right now basically could be boiled down to this game tried to turn Ellie into the villain, and I just wasn't having it. I'm not going to lie to you. I was not fucking having it. I let Abby die 5 or 6 times in hopeful that the game would just end. There was an option, if you did it enough, the game would be like, this is your journey. Because I was furious. That really rubbed me the wrong way. And I understand why. They're trying to tell a different perspective. They're trying to give you empathy. They're trying to give you a flip side of the coin. I get it. That's the other part of this conversation I was thinking as we're going into it, is I feel like I'm going to say all these feelings that I'm having, and people are going to give me all these reasons why they're wrong. And it's like, get it.
There's no reason, first off. It's opinions and how you decipher it.
Well, I meant people are going to say you shouldn't feel that way because, Abby and Ellie are parallels in so many ways, and it's a flip side of a mirror and a coin. It's like, I get it. I get what's happening. I understand it.
I still didn't want to do that.
Just hate it. I just don't like it. Because we didn't talk about this yet, but the one thing that they're really trying to keep under wraps is that you play a significant portion of this game as a completely different character and a completely different cast of characters.
Yep.
And it's mirroring everything you've already played. So that's kind of the whole point, is there are all these moments in time where Ellie and Abby were near each other doing the same things or doing similar things, where all this could have happened before you reach the final act. Yeah. I didn't give a fuck about any of that ever at all. And that has nothing to do with Abby's appearance or anything like that. It has everything to do with I've waited 7 years to play The Last of Us 2 to pick up where Joel and Ellie left off. And I got about 2 hours of that before Joel was removed. And then I had to finish the last 10 hours of the game without her completely. This is a huge swerve. I understand that it took balls to even do this. I credit them for doing it. This is like Metal Gear Solid, where you had Raiden come out of nowhere and you played the game as him and says Snake. This is a huge swerve.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. It felt oh God, I have so many feelings I want to say about this. I stopped collecting things at this point. I just wanted to get through it. I just wanted to get back to Ellie and see what the hell happened. I think this hurt my appreciation for the whole game. I don't think, Kevin, I'm pretty sure. I'm not even going to say I don't think. I'm pretty sure I'll never play this game again.
Wow.
I think it's amazing. It's an incredible game. I'm never going to do that again. I'm never going to go through that entire Abby section ever again. May I play the first chapter and ride around the horse as Joel and see Ellie or something? Maybe. But I'm never...
chapter select after and just skip over all these parts.
I'm never doing that again. It's so hard to say this because I don't want to come off... it's going to come off critical. There's no way of doing it. I understand that there are story elements to why, but even with that factored in, I'm going to say it just felt like padding.
Okay. All right. So my feelings when we made that transition to Abby, and once again, we're talking spoilers anyway, so if you didn't play the game to kind of catch up...
It's too late now.
No, but I'm saying, but like, if you don't care about playing the game and you're just listening to this to find out our thoughts, so what happens is revealed that Abby, this other character who's the protagonist for most of the game, the one who actually killed Joel, was the daughter of the doctor that Joel killed that was going to operate on Ellie to find the cure. So this is the tie around to all that stuff. With you, Donnie, here at the beginning, I was like, okay, I'm going to play as Abby for like a brief period of time. I think it was going to be long. But as I got into it, I felt the same emotion.
Every day, every chapter. It's like, why?
Right. But so at the beginning, I felt the exact same way as you. But then I slowly found myself coming around and saying, okay, they're showing this other story where I thought this was a bad person. But in reality, Abby's no different than Joel.
Right. It's just a different perspective. She's really no different than Ellie.
So, well, that too. So I didn't have a problem with it as it went along. It was really jarring for a good hour or two where I'm like, where is this going? But in the end, I felt because of the choice of killing Joel so early, they needed something there. Because if the game was just Ellie tracking down all 6 people and checking off those people that she needs to kill, that would have been really boring. So I'm with you where, like, I don't like Abby as a character overall, but I would have also really hated if it was just Ellie going from place to place to place, Xing off one person at a time for 30 plus hours.
So that gets back to, I appreciate what they did, but I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I would have rather had more time with Ellie and Joel together and told that story. Yes. That story that I've waited for so long. There's a part of me that wants to say this, and God, for a game that I would score 10 out of 10, it feels wrong to say it, but if I had known that this was what was on the table for following it up, I would have never asked for a follow-up. I would have rather kept my original experience with the game. The way that game ended, on the cliffhanger that it did, with the ending that it did, after the story that it told, was, in my opinion, perfect. And that's the reason why I tell everybody it's my favorite game of all time.
Yeah.
I feel like this game lessens that experience overall. Because of this, because of they kill off Joel super fast. And, you know, they bounce around time and you get some memories and they fill in the gaps, but it's not the same. And that's the thing that's missing is when you were with Joel and Ellie, they built a relationship in the gameplay, not just in a cutscene. In the gameplay, they had these moments, they had these conversations. That's the special sauce. That's what made it what it was. And in this game, that's not really there. There is some heartwarming dialogue, a little bit. It's not nearly as much. I do say that. It is a much bleaker world. There's not nearly as much.
Yeah.
And then the times where they do insert a happy moment, it's typically in a memory. It's a cutscene, so you just see it coming from a mile away. It's like, here, we're going to construct a happy moment.
Yeah.
And then you're going to get back to your dark world. I think the thing that made The Last of Us 1 so special was that happy moment came anywhere. It came out of nowhere. You found these happy silver linings within this terrible thing that was happening.
Right, but also I feel like the placement of these memories of these happy moments gives you more of the insight and as to the mind state and the driving force as to why Ellie was continuing to do what she was doing. Like, that was the driving force. Thinking back, having this memory, here's the museum, here's whatever the case is. That's right. This is why I need to avenge Joel, is because of this. And I do feel that despite, you know, the ultra violence bad world that this whole thing takes place in, there are still some of those moments that are not memories. Some of the guitar strumming in certain places and doing things like of that nature.
Oh, I'm putting that canvas on the wall.
Environments and stuff like that too. So there is things there.
When she sings the Take On Me, I'm putting that on the wall. That's being made into a canvas print. I'm just waiting for somebody to make a nice 4K screenshot of it. I'm putting that on the wall.
I'm with you.
Probably my favorite moment.
I think there are some of those moments there. But you're right. The Abby part is jarring, and then you go back to Ellie eventually. But actually, so before I go that way, the Ellie battle. So I'm with you too. I was like, oh no, I don't like this. I never.
You physically had to hold her and just punch her in the face.
Yeah,
that was heartbreaking.
Right.
I didn't want to do that at all.
No, I'm with you. That part was the hardest to do mentally, and also Ellie's tough. That was the toughest combat. I think
she'll one hit kill you.
That part was, for as much as I did not want to do it. So I mean, I think this is where ultimately the whole thing is talking about.
Do you think it was weird when they flipped the camera?
It was done so well.
Because when I was seeing her as a character move around, even though I'd seen it from the other side, it didn't look the same to me. It was a little bit jarring. I was like, why is she like so small?
Because compared to Abby, she was. But
dude, Abby is a fucking tank.
Abby is
brick house, man. It's like Brock Lesnar out here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's the other part of Abby's journey. a little bit you notice, because I mean, this is where like I think a lot of controversy came up, and people will definitely I think be talking about Abby a lot. Is Ellie's kind of the same build throughout the entire story of The Last of Us period.
Yeah.
Like, she doesn't really change her size. She's a very petite woman, you know, what this, that. Abby goes from petite woman, very similar to Ellie, to absolutely ripped.
She's jacked. And it's like,
to the same size as Ellie in the end again, and because of storyline beats.
I shared a lot with you about that.
Yeah.
Leading up to this, I caught a few previews that basically suggest that she was transgendered. And
I don't think that at all.
I definitely didn't think that at all, and that was not the case. So I think those are all just misleading garbage, to be honest with you. It was just garbage articles, people wanting to say hateful things.
Or are they the only other thing that I thought people got their wires crossed on was what was the name of the two people that Abby ends up having throughout the game, the kids
it's Lev and I forget his sister's name, Kara,
right? So
something like that.
So Lev.
Yeah, I was going to say, there is a transgender storyline that's happening.
Right.
And a lot of critics, or I don't even call them critics, because to be honest with you, having played the game now, so I read the previews going in because they said non-spoilers.
Yeah.
So I was reading some stuff just to be informed, kind of see what people were saying about it. Having played the game, I now think those previews I read were garbage.
Yes.
Because a lot of it was just like anger at, they kept calling it like woke social justice stuff, because it had a game that had, a lesbian character and a transgender storyline, and it is not that at all. It is completely not that at all. And anybody to think that at all, I would firmly disagree with. I think that's a garbage take.
Honestly,
that's a shallow take.
To what I would say is, and I hate to even do this because I don't like into these arguments. Like, if you have an issue with the story and narration of what's done there, you're a homophobe. Like,
I'm not going to go that
but it's
far,
not.
But
it's there, but it's not in your face. So if you have a problem with how it's presented there,
the people that wrote some of that stuff
problem
comes off to make you think that way. It's Yara, by the way. Yara and Lev.
Well, Lev was the one I was referring to.
Yeah, I know.
The second you said it, I remembered. But yeah, I mean, I don't. If you're offended by like, it's not woke at all. I don't feel.
Neither do I.
It's
agree.
Life. Like, you're not going to experience every and especially in this world environment.
Dude, representation matters. And hats off.
White male character.
Hats off to them for doing it in a I think an authentic way. So I think it's just garbage. I don't think we need to give that any more time of day, because I think I think a lot of those articles are coming from a place of hatred to begin with.
Can I just say I hate Dina though?
Do you really?
I don't like her as a character at all.
I really like Dina.
I feel like they fleshed out so many other people, but she's very one-dimensional and very.
She is one-dimensional character.
Very.
That's okay.
Selfish, and I only mean that. I mean, obviously, right? But I mean, obviously, she went and followed Ellie.
Mm-hmm.
But every narrative about her was about her and not about anybody else.
Hang on.
Okay.
All right. So this game got me in the feels on a couple occasions, and one of them directly was Dina related.
Okay.
I'll never forget it. The moment that they're at Joel's grave, which, by the way, what a heartfelt like. The beginning of this game got to me early. I shared a picture with you and Devin, because I realized immediately as we were going in, I was like, oh, we're saying goodbye to Joel. Like, this is happening faster than I ever expected. And yes. I was not like digging it, but trying to take it all in. Mm-hmm. And when they're walking out of the graveyard, Ellie goes, you don't have to do this. You don't have to come. And she turns, and you have like this face-to-face. I think it's where like the mo capture in the presentation comes in. She looks at her and she's like, you go, I go. And I was just like, that one got to me, because I felt it. Like, I felt the emotion that came through the acting and the portrayal. I was like, that's real good. And I mean, I don't disagree that she's not one-dimensional, but you need one-dimensional characters to tell a story. I think her motivations are well defended.
I just think that the love story that was being portrayed there was like, okay, so
most of it's
Dina
backfilled.
broke up with Jesse.
So that's the problem, is that most of it's backfilled. Most of it's backfilled. You don't get it early. If you got it early, it makes more sense later, but the fact that we get most of the explanation of their relationship comes at the end. So you don't have it while you're playing the whole time.
Yeah.
And if that had been a little bit more fleshed out early,
like,
maybe
in the last segment of the game, I felt it a lot more. Their relationship and stuff like that. But at the beginning, it's just like, okay, she breaks up with Jesse, and the very next day she's hooking up with Ellie, and then, oh, by the way, she's pregnant.
They kissed. She didn't know she was pregnant.
Right. I get that. But I still think up until like the last quarter of that game that she cared more about Jesse Not more. She still cared about Jesse a lot.
Sure, of course.
Until Jesse was out of the picture.
See, and I understand that, but
yeah,
talking about another swerve was Jesse coming in at that moment. I think I'd let you do this alone. Like all the marketing, all of this is just one giant swerve in this game. And and I understand it's like a surprise effect that I think obviously with the scores and everything, a lot of people appreciate way more than me. I'm not really appreciating it. I'm like, this is not what I wanted. This is not what I thought I was getting. And now that I have it, I definitely don't want it. Like now that I've played it, I definitely would. I wished I would have done it differently. It just really comes down to it. It's just not what I want. And this whole, I want to get back to the main theme here.
Yep.
This whole point of vengeance begets violence, begets vengeance, begets violence. Look, I get it. I do. They're trying to tell like this world is so dark. Like let's flip it up from the other side. You'll feel empathy for these people. Having played the first game, I felt no empathy for Abby or any of her friends. Really? They cared these characters. They killed this character that I love. They hit him in the face with a fucking golf club. Like, I wanted to kill all of them. Are you kidding me? That was Joel. Like, I love Joel. No, I don't love Abby or the other girl that was pregnant or Owen. I give a fuck about any of these people.
No, I hate Owen. I get like the Joel thing is the driving factor, but it's funny is you're like they kill freaking Joel, I'm gonna go on a rampage, but yet you're criticizing Ellie for doing just that.
No, it's not. Well, it's not that. It's not that I don't. No, that's not the point I was trying to make.
I know.
The point I was trying to make is I felt no empathy for him, and it feels like the whole game's theme is like a matter of perspective. You might feel sympathy differently, and it's like, but I didn't. I didn't feel sympathy differently.
Right, but so as I played through Abby's journey, like I said, I came around to it. Can you tell me what the Fireflies did wrong?
It's not a right or wrong thing. Well, it's not a right or wrong thing.
Murdered all those people.
It's not a right or wrong thing. Again, I just don't care.
Right, so Abby's vengeance is just as justified as Joel's actions as was Ellie's reactions. Like,
totally justified. Again, I get it.
Okay.
Just don't care. Don't love them like I love these two. I'm on this team.
Yes.
And in this world, that matters. Like in a world like this, like you rock with the people that brought you there, not the new folks. I don't care what they did or what their view on it is. It's differently. Guess what? If somebody, dude, starts throwing shots at Kevin's review, they just crossed the line with me. Now they're going to get the bad thing of it. That's Kevin. That's my dude. That's not how this works.
Yeah, no,
I don't give a shit what review he did or what his perspective on it was, or you'd be coming at my dude like that. That's love.
I get it. But like, so.
But that actually wasn't the point I was trying to make.
Right, okay.
I think the point is lessened on that theme of the game overall by how much freaking killing it makes you do. It's like, have sympathy as you kill these people, but by the way, kill hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people. Dude, so one of the things I have not read your review, to be clear. I said this.
Okay.
But I did tell you that I played the game, I thought it's amazing, and I hated it. The thing that I didn't tell you is I really wanted to know, did you mention Uncharted at all in your game? Because there is a shit ton of Uncharted in this game. And I remember how you thought of Uncharted 4. Like, there is a lot of Uncharted. There are a lot of just...
There's no rock climbing at all, sir.
Dude, but you slide down the hills, you do the rope thing, you do the cart thing. There are waves and waves of enemies to fight. Waves. And at the end, guess what? They put on helmets and body gear just like they did in Uncharted 4. And you got to shoot all them too.
Yeah, those parts of Uncharted I never had a problem with. It was more just the constant rock climbing. And like, yes, there's ropes, but there's 3 or 4 times used ropes in the last one. It's not a lot at all.
I'm just saying, really like, there and the Lost Legacy open world section, like the little chapter.
I didn't play Lost Legacy at all, so I have no idea.
It's the same thing. It is the exact same thing. Like the same thing. It's better. It's prettier and stuff like that, but it is. But there's a lot of Uncharted DNA here, which is just to say that Naughty Dog made it. That's not a. That's not what I'm saying, but. The violence part of it, right? It's all like, be sympathetic, like, listen to the other side, like, check this out, like, we're all in this together. And it's like, yeah, but you're making me kill everybody.
No, see, I don't think... Yeah, so that's a tough
So it feels like it lessens it. It's like, why do I care? Yes. I've killed hundreds of people already.
Totally. I don't think the sympathy portion is what the narrative is trying to tell you. I think what the narrative is telling you is in this world... There's no good or bad people.
Oh, sure.
Everybody's just the same. So I get like, so like, yeah, you might feel
I don't know. From Abby's perspective,
as
they really try to make
story.
Ellie and Joel the evil person. Like, look at these people, and they killed your dad, and you go back and relive that multiple times. Like, they really try.
Right.
They're pushing you to feel sympathy for them.
Well, because they want you to understand the motivation.
Yeah, but I don't care. I'm killing everybody. We're killing everybody. We're mass murdering everybody. But that's the point. Who cares? The point is, how can you care for this when you're both killing everyone?
Right. But you can't, that's what I'm saying, you can't feel for one side and not for the other. It's either all or none. I think that's what the narrative is. I think they were trying to say is that in Last of Us land, there's no good people.
Oh, I get that.
There's none.
But I love Ellie and Joel knowing what they did, especially Joel. I knew Joel murdered a whole damn hospital full of people. I did it.
Yep.
I was there.
Right.
I believed in it. I still...
So when you completed the original Last of Us,
yeah,
after you had that action, did you at any point in yourself say, well, that was a thing? Like, yes, I get why he did it, but
no.
Did you agree with doing that and then not telling Ellie the truth? Like,
no, from the original Last of Us, I 100% got it, and I understood why he lied to her, and I was so happy, by the way, the cutscene where he tells her, like, he was choked up, she was choked up, I was choked up. I was like, oh, God.
Yep.
He's like, oh, man, I'm gonna try to say it, and I feel like I already feel my eyes watering. Hang on a second. But he looks at her, and she's like, you took this from me. Yep. You robbed me of this. My life could have had meaning. And you hear it, and Troy does such a great job in this. And he goes, if God gave me a second chance, if I could go back and do it again, I wouldn't change a damn thing. Yep. And I was like, that's Joel. That's why he did it, because he was being himself. It wasn't about being good or bad. It was about love of one person. And
so why can't Ellie do the same thing? I get, and I'm just talking with you. It's all personal opinion and what your preference is on the story. Like,
because Ellie's not Joel, but in this game she is. She's a doppelganger in this game, but she's not.
Right.
And I think that's a lot of the conflict, because Ellie was, and I said this to Kyle in the show that we did the first time, in a lot of ways in the first game, the way that I perceive it anyway, is I always thought that Ellie rescued Joel. She gave him hope. She gave him a reason for living.
Yes.
So she kind 100%. Of changed him. Joel definitely softened.
But I think but I also think Joel was her reason for living afterwards too. And much like
this
Joel,
game doesn't make that.
Well, see, but to me it does. So Joel, prior to what happened prior to Ellie, like, was Joel a savage murderer? Like, would he go on a rampage and do that? I didn't get that impression throughout most of the game that he would just do that. That was Ellie that made him do that out of love. So I feel like this was, like, you're right. Ellie wasn't like that in the first game. She wasn't like that at the start of this game. She turned into that because of that.
Into it because I think
it's just a mirror. It's a mirror image. So not only is Abby a mirror of Ellie, Ellie's a mirror of Joel. Yeah, and this was the trigger that changed her into that.
100%. I walked all this through with my wife, and I was discussing. I was like, and the issue is I can't be critical of one without somebody saying I'm not being critical of the other. And I get it.
I agree.
The problem is that I really, really love one, and I don't give a crap about the other. Yep. That's the issue.
That's what I totally get. Like, I'm not trying to sway your opinion.
No, I get that. I appreciate the conflict.
Right.
Dude, I'm telling you,
it's all personal preference.
I let Abby die.
I didn't have a problem with it at all.
No less than 6 times. When they were like, kill Ellie, I was like, oh, fuck no. I put the controller down. I literally thought of just not even completing the game. There was a part of me was like, I'm out. Fuck this. I'm done. Because when I was playing it, I was like, are we actually going to kill her? Like, there was a part of it that was like,
I never thought.
Oh, there was a part of me, I was like, is this it? Is this the end? Oh, no. Like, I'm not doing this. I would have been so angry. And I would have too. I was almost that angry when Ellie left this beautiful little home she had. That didn't make a lick of sense to me. I get that she's haunted and tormented and trauma. I get it. But she has everything to lose. Everything. And she's already lost. Yeah. She already lost. And now she has everything to lose. She's going to risk it all for what? To go kill one person states away? Which brings me to another point that I had. I'm actually just glad I said that. Dude, apparently the virus isn't that bad, because we got folks traveling from fucking Wyoming to Washington to California and back in groups of people. Nobody's getting killed. The scariest people in this entire game are the Seraphites. And another point that I'd like to make, I really don't understand their importance to the story at all. I really don't even understand why the hell they're here. They're super scary. I love that about it. Yeah. Dude, when they start whistling and shit, that's a scary moment. Yeah. That arrow that you get when you meet them, That's a game changer. I love that. Don't get me wrong. I love that. No idea why they're there.
Yeah, it's just another tribe of people. It's another group. Like
this entire it's like they're more worried about two groups of human survivors fighting than they are the infected in their own city, and that doesn't make any damn sense to me.
See, it's so. I mean, once again, I don't know, but my impression was that because of this time that had transpired, like people kind of figured out the clickers and the infected, and that's why like they had like routine. The routes to go and kill them. Like that's what I'm saying. It's like The Walking Dead. It's become less about the zombies and more about the other people. And I did say in my review that it just the human element is a bigger, not distraction, but a bigger problem than the infected are in this game. 100%.
And I don't like that as much. That's a big part of it. That's a big difference from the first game to this game, and it kind of ties into, I want to say, the overarching plot of all of this. Do you like the story here more of vengeance for vengeance sake versus the incredible journey? Because I think that's what it comes down to. Because like this game, The Last of Us Part 2 is like Rambo, right? Where the first one is like Lord of the Rings. And they are going from town to town, this incredible journey against all odds, and they are overcoming it at the skin, at just the rarest of margins. And this is just Rambo. Ellie's just Rambo. She's been wronged, and she's out to kill everybody. And that's really the story here at a global level, obviously. There's a lot of nuance, but at a global level. And there is a part of me, as beautiful as the world is, there is a part of me that missed that journey. I was like, do we play the entire thing in Seattle? Like the first game we went from Boston to the Midwest to Denver, and like seeing all the different scapes and the seasons and how all that played into it. There's a part of me that says that's probably more video gamey than this game. Obviously, this game kind of set out to not be a video game, or to be different than a video game, as a better word of saying it. That's why I said at the top of the show, this might be better as not a video game. This story might be better being told to you through acting, through cinema, than it actually is a video game. Instead of having hours and hours and hours of more waves of killing, there is a point where in this game, 15 hours, everything feels new and fresh. 15 to 25 hours, you're like, God, again? you just, and the stories are different, the characters are changing, but especially considering that you're like reliving the days. It's the same day, it's the same place, it's the same people. It's like, it's...
Yeah, I mean, there definitely was some of that, but I think like the Sarah fights and stuff like that changed a little bit of perspective.
That's the only role that I think they have.
Right, it was to give just a different flavor to it. The journey versus the action from 1 and 2, I agree. That is a massive jarring change in methodology of the narration of it. However, I also don't think I'd want the grand journey again.
You didn't like
I feel
them...
like the first one was so special was because of that, and I wouldn't want it to just be a copy of like, hey, here's similar progression beats,
That's fair. And then that's correct, actually. I'm not fair. That's true. I agree with you here. That wasn't exactly what I was saying, or at least not what I wanted to say. It was just that in the first game they had a common goal that they were all seemed to be working to, and this one is just like the story is I want to kill these people.
Yeah,
that's the story. That's fair. And it's like, it just leaves for me as such a Last of Us fan. Well, I don't want to say that because that doesn't matter. For me, a big part of the Last of Us fandom that got me hooked was the journey, the relationship along the way, how that relationship changed because of the journey, and also like this huge, awesome goal of like we're trying to restore hope to mankind. It's like such a video game story.
Yeah.
Your princess is in another castle. Like, go rescue. Like, that's kind of what you're doing. And this game didn't have any of that.
No.
Like I said, it's all bleak and just bland. It's just basic. Basic might be the better word. It's not bland. It's full of nuance. There's all kinds of details, but it's just at the core of it's like, I need to kill this person as I kill thousands of other people. It's just, and
but
again,
you can boil that down to Mario. My goal is to get this princess, and I'm going to kill hundreds of people on the way to do it. Like
I guess
I get what you're saying, but yeah, it's the point of every video game is just to do this. Get to this point, and you kill everybody in your way.
Yeah.
Except for like Journey or something where you don't kill anybody. But
do you like the characters? Do you like the supporting cast in this game more than you like the first one? Because that was another point that I was like, I don't. And I think that's a big part of that is the fact that I'm just not into Abby and her camp. I don't care. And I think that hurts me most. If you're into Abby and her camp, you might be really into it, right? And it might be better. But I'm sitting here with all the people that I came across. I was like, none of these folks are Henry and Sam. None of these folks are Bill. They don't have that meaning to me that the other folks did.
That's extremely fair. While I grew to, I don't want to say like Abby, but I grew to understand Abby. She didn't bother me as much other than, don't beat up on Ellie. The rest of her characters in her storyline, nope, didn't care about it at all.
I really liked I liked learning about Abby's people. The camp and the stadium and everything. I was like, oh shit, these people are set up and all that.
Yeah, they're legit.
Which also made me realize, like, they just left to go on a revenge mission to kill Joel.
Well, yes. Just those people. They got permission.
And they left, they went states away, and they came back and just right back to normal. There's a part of, there's a lot of this from just I guess.
Yeah. That you're right about that.
Do you see the point I'm trying to make?
Yes.
I came into this game wanting
I did
this Ellie, Joel, that same experience. Not the same thing, but I came in thinking I knew what The Last of Us was, and this redefines what The Last of Us is. That might be the best way of putting it. It's a whole new Last of Us. It's not really anything like the first one.
I did enjoy Jesse a lot.
Oh, I like Jesse too.
I liked his character. And I did like Tommy up until the end.
Would have used more Jesse. Would have liked more Jesse.
Yes.
Also,
I agree.
Yeah, at the end, I wasn't even going to say that. Tommy didn't make any sense at the end. That wasn't Tommy.
No.
Tommy would not have done that.
Yeah, so let's go to the end because we're going a little long here. So let's get to that final.
I haven't even checked the time.
No, it's okay. So yeah, Tommy at the end when this is all resolved and Abby goes her way and Ellie goes her way and Ellie's got this nice little life in her nice little house and they have what appears to be a decent setup other than Ellie's demons haunting her. So actually before we get to Tommy here in this point, you said we have to talk about Tommy first. So Tommy shows up and says, hey, listen, I got a lead. This is where she is. I'm coming. Are you coming with it? Are you going? And Ellie's like, no.
Well, he's not coming. He's like, I can't go. He's busted up leg and everything.
Because he physically can't go.
Let me provide a little more support here. The same Tommy who in Joel was murdered in front of him with a golf club tried to talk Ellie out of not going.
Yeah.
The same Tommy who was like, you can't do this. We've got people, and he even said, I think he said something, I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember everything, but he said something similar like, we've done bad things. They've done bad. He almost justified the killing of his own brother. Yeah. And he goes to Ellie out of the blue after he was shot, after Ellie was beaten to death, and tells her, I found her. She's states away. Can you go kill her?
Yeah.
How does that make sense?
Yeah, that part doesn't at all. And that's where my disconnect with Tommy came. I enjoyed him throughout the whole game up until that point. I was like, what are you doing, bro?
And this is at a time when in this scene, it's gorgeous. Ellie and Dina have a farm. Yep. They've got sheep. It's beautiful. They've got fence. Everything looks safe. They're dancing. They're kissing. They're doing the laundry. Ellie's playing guitar. They have a kid. It's like, okay, man, she's moved on. She's found her true
This
center.
Is the best that's going to get in your world.
Yeah. And she gives it all up because Tommy walks in with a map to Southern California. They're in Wyoming. Do you know how far? That's a long walk.
Yeah. But, so, obviously Ellie going didn't fully make sense other than, she'd be haunted forever if she didn't go, whatever
and Dina,
the case.
Tears, begging her to stay. Tells her, if you leave, that's it.
That's it.
And she still leaves.
But, so here's the thing.
Kevin, I hated this part of the game.
Yeah, I'm with you. This was another moment where I thought, we're still going? We're still playing? Okay.
Yes, I thought that was the end, and it wasn't.
I did too. Would you be concerned, though, that years from now, whatever, that Abby would come back for Ellie? And that is a secret motivation that Ellie didn't want something to happen to Dina and the kid?
No, because she already let Ellie live twice. She had the moment to kill her twice, and she's not after Ellie. This is not, she doesn't care. She told her, don't come back. This is over. She ended it. Only for Tommy to be the inspiration that makes Ellie continue? That doesn't, and it seems out of character for Ellie. I get it that she's upset with Joel and she's traumatized. I get I get the plot is setting her up to do this. Yeah. But the Ellie that we knew in the first game, like the experience we've had for the past decade with her, that doesn't seem like a decision she would make. In my opinion, I think that'll be something a lot of people debate over forever.
Yeah,
I think a lot of people may think differently, but for me, that didn't seem to make sense with Ellie that I know. She's got love. She's got a kid. She's got safety. She's happy. They even had like a conversation. They were meeting with Dina's parents. Like all this stuff was happening, and just to go try to kill one person, you risk everything. Risk your own life. Risk your relationship. Your quasi-marriage. I'm not sure if we're marrying people in the Last of Us world or not, if we're having ceremonies, right? But like basically, right? This entire situation, you put it all at risk to kill one person who's states away. Entire states. So
you're gonna hate this. Abby did the same thing.
I know.
but you're right.
Again,
it's not
I get
characteristic.
Yes, I understand. But I hate it.
So Ellie goes off and she chases the lead, and she actually ends up, we're kind of skipping a little bit here, but she actually ends up saving Abby from another group of people, only to then try and fight her to the death.
Yeah. So this ending was all right. Oof. Okay, I'm gonna say the nice thing first. Ending, the actual ending, the final battle, fucking awesome.
Yeah,
that was
great.
Really great.
Yeah.
The ending chapter, the final act, super weird and kind of bad.
Yeah. Yep.
Kind of bad. Out of nowhere, you're in California. You played most of the game with a companion, completely alone.
Yeah.
You meet this mercenary slave people. No context. Who knows? There's zero context.
Rattlers or something they're called.
The only context we have for the entire situation is that Abby is looking for the Fireflies. That's it. Ellie tracks them down, kills a resort full of people in body gear, Uncharted body gear, helmets, and oh god, Kevin, I hated that point. They started running out with helmets, and I was like, oh, dude, come the fuck on. Like, let's get this over already. That was the point where I was just like, that's actually the point of me. There was a moment, I think that was the moment I was sitting there and I'm like, do I love this game? I don't think so. Like, I don't love this game. And it's like, it hurts to say that because I've looked forward to it for so long, And it's like, I so badly want to come here and be like, it's the greatest game ever. And it might be. But I didn't like it. And this is one of many, but this is a big part of it. So she kills an entire resort full of people. You're just going wave after wave after wave after wave of people. You do it all over again, just like every Uncharted game. Yeah. To where you've reached the final battle, just like Uncharted 4. Like it's very similar. And the final battle was fucking awesome. Abby is a slave, basically left for dead on the beach. She's tied up. Yep. And Ellie cuts her down, and she lets her go. She's like, hey, like, we got two boats here. How convenient. We've got two boats here. You take one, I take the other one. And then she puts the bag down, and she remembers what happened to Joel. And by the way, we didn't talk about this. Joel's death was gruesome. Reminded me... You watch Sons of Anarchy?
No.
Joel's death scene reminds me so much of Opie's death scene. You should look it up.
Okay.
Opie is a very strong character in the game. He's in prison. He's about to be, they're about to fight for the death. He takes the lead character's place, dies in front of everybody. This heroic last death, which I think is what they tried to give Joel. I love Joel's, and they're like, we're Fireflies. Joel was like, say whatever speech you've got and let's get on with it. Joel's great. So Ellie and Abby have this final battle. She remembers Joel and she goes, I can't let you leave. And again, I'm like, why? I get it. She killed your dad, right? He killed her dad. There's a point of her this. It doesn't. I'm trying to say this in a way where you don't respond and go, Abby did the same thing, and Joel
I won't. So here, before you even say it, is.
At what point is enough enough?
Just let it go. But then at that point, if she just were to let her go, why did Ellie go on this entire journey, period?
Which again is the point.
Right. So I feel that at this point, you're already at the point of no return. She was, I thought, at the point.
In for a penny, in for a pound. You're all in. I get
at that point, she lost, Ellie's lost everything. She knows she's lost everything at that point. Everything. So she's like, nope, this is what I have to do at least to live with myself afterwards, which she doesn't even end up doing.
Yeah, as I say, because that doesn't make sense, because that's not what happens. They fight, they have a gruesome battle in the shallow waters. Abby bites off Ellie's fingers.
Two of them. Yep.
They beat the shit out of each other.
Yep.
And then at some point, Ellie's got her. She's won. She's about to drown Abby.
She is drowning her.
And she just lets her go.
Yep.
And she starts crying. She tells her to leave. And that's it.
Well, then she goes home.
Well, I know, but I mean, that's it to this arc. That's how this arc ends.
Yep.
This arc that was, I've got to kill all these people to kill her, ends with me letting her go. When you had numerous opportunities to let her go or not hunt her at all.
Mm-hmm. I think at that point, that moment only, is when Ellie realized they were, I don't want to say the same, but similar. And I think that's why she didn't do it. Because she also felt like nothing would be resolved there. She's just like me. I'm still going to feel like crap after I do this, if I do this. It's not going to bring Joel back. It's not going to do this and that, blah, 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 so on and so forth. But then she goes back home and the house is empty. It's all gone.
Yeah, she's lost it all.
Except for her stuff. And that's how the game ends.
For a pointless trip.
Yep.
She can't play guitar. That's the sad part. You try to play guitar and she can't. She's missing fingers. And then she walks away into the woods. And I'm left with that feeling at the end of the game where I sit back and I think about it, and I agree, again, just to be sure. I won't listen to PlayStation fans get angry at me. I think the game's incredible, and it takes storytelling to a whole other level that's never been experienced in video games. It's 10 out of 10. It's double albums, packed full of content. It's beautiful, 100%. My issue, and my only issue, pertains with the story, and I hate it because it's not the Ellie that I want it to be.
Yep, completely understandable.
And it ends on a note that I would have hated for it to be. The whole point of doing the sequel, I felt like, was to give this amazing story some closure. And I guess some people might find like they had some, but I didn't. The only closure that we know is that they admit to the lie, and which we knew that was going to happen. Of course, it doesn't happen. You can't have a sequel where they don't do that.
You wouldn't be able to do a sequel.
My point was, what happens after that? That's the point. Like, what happens to Ellie and Joel after that? And what we learn is Ellie forgives him in a brief moment and before he dies. I wanted to know all those moments. I would have loved. All right, so in the first Last of Us, I'm really happy I just remember this because I was thinking about this. I was listening to the Last of Us podcast and they were talking about kind of an experience and it reminded me of this. In the first Last of Us, after Ellie's encounter with David, she's off put. She's distant. She's traumatized. I would have loved to live some of that with Ellie and Joel going on patrols where Joel is like, hey, Ellie, and she's like, get the fuck away from me. I would have loved to experience that turn, that whole, like, let me live that. That's what I'm here for. That relationship is why I bought the game. And I just felt like we got a cutscene. Don't get me wrong, but it's like we deserve so much more than a cutscene. That was the whole, or at least for me, that's the whole point. That was the point. And so in that regards, look, hats off to Neil and Naughty Dog. They crushed it. Neil, again, is an amazing writer. And I feel like his writing has already proven that he just has aspirations that are far beyond video games. I wouldn't be surprised if Neil left, to be honest.
Well, I mean, he's doing HBO. So
I know. And there's a part of me, there's a part of me that was like, I could definitely see him being writing for movies and things like that. Like, I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, he may just love Naughty Dog and love video games. He probably does. He's been there forever.
It's about saying, like, he could get lost in the industry, but yet in this industry, in gaming, he's the guy.
Oh no!
So
Naughty Dog is
shit. Like, you can give it up for a chance in Hollywood, but how quick would you?
I told you this leading up to it because you told me you're like, this guy's my favorite game, and I was just like, well, people didn't realize. I've been saying it for years. I've been saying it for years, not just saying it. Like we had Horizon come out and we got a war, and people are like, oh man, Uncharted 4 is not so great. I'm like, you guys just Naughty Dog is at another level. They are the best. They are the best, and they proved it again here. Personally, I was hoping for something different.
So, final question here. Do they do another one after this?
After this, I really hope not.
Me too.
Like, that's the question that I asked myself when I finished it. It was about 2 a.m, and I asked myself 2 questions. And I'll ask you these, and it'll be the regurgitation, but knowing what you know now, are you glad they did the sequel? Like, are you like, this entire experience is now better because of this, or would you have rather kept that original seminal experience and seen something else?
Honest answer is I would have been fine either way.
Okay.
If it ended in the first one, fine. Even with the cliffhanger, I'm fine. The second one for me didn't take anything away, but I also don't think it needed to be done, but I am glad they did it.
Okay. All right. I mean, I obviously disagree.
Right.
I would have rather seen a completely different story.
Sure.
I mean, knowing what I know now, do The Last of Us 2, just don't touch Joel and Ellie, leave it alone. I would have preferred that happen than this.
Sure.
I thought the Abby thing, and it would have been interesting. You know what? It would have been different if they teased the Abby stuff in the first one. I think it would have been different. The whole fact that it's like all retroconned and saying it's just like, that's right. That's the part of me where I feel like this was a deliberate attempt to change the way that you feel about these characters, and or like outsmart like the fans, or not outsmart.
Which it might have been.
The outsmart part sounds negative. I don't mean it that way.
Yeah.
To show them, to surprise them, to give them something new, to change it all up. Right.
Yep.
That's the thing. It's like, I could see him sitting there and like, wait till we do this. Like, they're not going to believe this. Right. And it's like where, but do we want that? Like, nobody wants you to do that.
I'm completely with you. If
I was thinking about
the story entirely different, I would have been okay
what
with
if they did this same formula in a different game?
Yeah.
Like, what if it was Fallout or another game that you really love? Or if it was like Mario and it's like chapter in, like Mario dies, you play the rest of the game as Koopa or some shit. It's like, like it's this really, really new territory. And my initial response to it is I don't think I'm not as favorable as into it as but here's the thing. I totally think that there will absolutely be waves of people that will play this game and be like, holy shit, did you see all this stuff they did? I can't believe they did it, because it took guts. I mean, this is gusto to do this.
Absolutely.
So, and I appreciate what they're doing, and I understand why they did it. I get all that. I'm just not into it, man. like I said, I'm pretty sure I'll never replay it. Pretty sure. I'm never going to replay this whole thing again. I don't want to. There were parts of it I just wanted to stop playing it altogether. Can you imagine if you had told me a month ago, Donnie, you played The Last of Us, there's a point where you just want to quit.
I knew this as I was playing through, and like I said, I could talk to you about it because you knew some spoilers, but I didn't want to. Was like the second I hit the Abby part and I realized Abby wasn't going away, I was like, Donnie's gonna hate this.
Nobody's gonna like that. Nope, don't like that. That's legit. And man, appreciate an amazing game, an amazing video game.
Yeah.
And it definitely takes risks. And if you're into that, like, I was thinking the whole time as I was playing it, I was like, no wonder Kevin loves it. And I was thinking the opposite. I was like, this game takes all the risk. It throws all the norms and the expectations out the freaking window. And it's completely different in so many different ways. And I thought you would appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of my whole point is I don't think necessarily everybody's going to love it. And that's clear. I don't think you're going to be alone here, but I think it's something everyone should experience one way or another.
Kyle asked me when he found out I played it, he DM'd me and he goes, I don't want any spoilers. I just want to know what you thought.
Yeah.
And I told him, it's an amazing game. I think I even said, and then I followed it up, amazing might even not be the rest word. I think I said, it's a revolutionary game and I absolutely hate it. And he said, that makes me so much more excited to play it. Great game, but just a little bit of a downer. And I don't feel bad about that. The whole game is a downer. Like, you're not supposed to play this game and be like, oh my god, it was incredible. It's not like a hype inducing game. It's a dreadful, sad game.
Yep.
They really do that kind of world building a lot of service.
Yep.
They definitely make you feel the weight of the world. All right. That'll do it for this episode, the first episode of what I think to be many.
Probably.
I think we're going to be talking about this game forever. Once everybody finishes it, I feel like all the discussion we just had, we're going to have it all over again in the Discord.
Yep.
Every time somebody's like, Donnie, you thought this, but X, Y, and Z support. Like, I know it's going to happen. I know it's.
We're both of us are going to get pulled into other shows where they just berate us for our opinions because we talked about it first.
I feel like mine's going to
happen.
I feel like mine's, because, again, I don't think
you're going to be alone. I guarantee
you
there'll be at least one. Yeah, somebody else is going to hate the Abby portion, the Abby story, and feel different.
I thought the word hate was strong. I was like, I don't want it to just be like a hot take, but I really hate it. Like, if I could have skipped it, I would. If I could, I would wish I couldn't do it.
I think your opinion of, I think maybe like the whole I'll never play it again, I'll never touch it again thing, that might be a little bit different, but I think there will be a multitude of people saying this game is incredible. and I hated what they did in it.
Yeah.
Like story-wise, like I hated what it made me do, what it
It's
did.
like The Last of Us.
I don't think you'll be alone.
The original Last of Us, man, I go through it almost annually, and I love replaying it. I love everybody and finding all the notes and everything. And then there's a lot of notes we didn't even talk about. There's a lot of side story in here.
Oh, yeah.
They don't feel. Do they feel as memorable as the first one to you? I don't remember all the characters nearly as much. I remember Isha's story and the daycare and all that. I don't.
I do for a good portion, and the certain beats, the memories with Joel and Ellie, I think stand out a lot still in this one.
I remember the one in the little town before Jesse shows up, where they kind of have like this town mutiny. And they talk about like the guy, like his wife dies, so he goes on a rampage, and the people like kind of like let him go, so he kills everybody. Like that's the one that I remember. There's
little certain ones in areas where the safes are, but you don't need to open it to get those. But there are certain ones that tie the safes together to where the combination codes are. That there are a couple cool little side stories too.
Cool.
About why stuff is stashed there. Here's what I had to do, and I'm going to go out on my own. Good luck. And some people talking about joining the Seraphites and joining the wolves and it not working out for them and stuff like that. But like you get some of those things there that I think were memorable enough for me. But yeah.
Okay. Well, that's going to do it, and I can't wait to hear. I'm so excited to hear what everybody else has to think about it.
Yeah, me too.
You just have that feeling. It's like, oh my God, when everybody else plays this game, I do think we're going to get a lot of different reactions from a lot of different camps. But listeners, don't let my attachment to the original story dissuade you from playing this one. This is a game, like I said, it's a tentpole game for the medium. It's a game that needs to be experienced. Even if you don't finish it, you need to see it. You need to check it out because it's incredible. And imagine if they do a PS5 version where it is 4K 60. Okay, I'm sorry. I know I was going to close the show, and I know we're going long. Kevin, what if they do DLC?
They already said that they're not. Unless it's a standalone DLC thing again.
What if they do DLC like they have, like they usually do, and like they have in the past, and it's like more fills in that Ellie Joel. I was thinking that when I was like, oh, damn it.
Yeah. I'd play it right away.
I'm all in. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to play it. I'm all in. But
I'd be fine with that.
If it's the other part though, if it's like, learn more about Abby and her background, I'm not playing that.
I don't think there'll be more Abby in her background.
I don't think so either.
They could go where Abby went after.
They honestly gave Abby more background than Joel and Ellie. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. This is it. This is the end, and we'll let other people start talking from here on out. Listeners, I hope you enjoyed the show, and like I said, tune into more PSVG. We'll have more of these little PSP extras. Isn't that what we're kind of branding them as? Little bonus episodes? Yeah. So
that's a good thing to call it. PSP extra.
I think that's what we'll be putting out. Kev, let everybody know where they can follow you and your awesome review for The Last of Us Part 2.
You can head over to gamesreviews.com to find the review, and you can follow me at PSVG Kevin on literally everything.
Awesome. Well, that'll do it for us, and as the PSXP crew would sign you off, is it long live play?
Sure.
Greatness awaits.
Remember that night by the bonfire? Yeah. Talking away. I don't know what I'm to say. I'll say anyway. Today's another day to find you shying away. I'll be coming for you, I'm okay. Take on me. Take me on. I'll be gone in a day or two. Needless to say, I'm odds and ends, but I'll be stumbling away, slowly learning that life is okay. Say after me, it's no better to be safe than sorry. Take You should have kissed me then. I wanted to.